Hey guys, Laird here, back again with another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you heard me right, Eastmond and Laird Claw Shredder, brought to us by the fine folks over at NECA Toys, as well as my good buddy Evil Villain. Click the link in the description below and give him a follow on Yield Instagram if you haven't already. While you're at it, let him know Overlord sent you, because he was nice enough to sell me not just good old Claw Shredder here, but the entire trio of Shredder clones. The other two will be busting out for size comparisons a little bit later for a really good price. I couldn't pass it up. I love the Shredder clones. I think it's a cool concept. Growing up with the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series, that was my first exposure to the Shredder clones. I remember them climbing out of their containment chambers, all covered in, I don't know, liquid, slime, ooze, whatever the heck it was, and totally kicking the crap out of the Turtles. It was really cool. I guess they did it later in the 012 series, but up until NECA started making this Eastmond and Laird line, you could never get all three of them. I don't know why. Back in 03, you could only get Claw Shredder and Forearm Shredder, which they're the best too, let's face it. And then in 012, you could only get Claw Shredder, who was packaged with Shrimp Shredder. They never did the four-armed one. Again, I don't know what's up with that. It seems kind of stupid that you can't complete a team of 3 when you can complete a team of 4 more than once, and sometimes with unique tooling each time. That would be the 012 line. They did that a lot. I think 03 had a lot of reuse, but at any rate, you know what I mean. So, with that being said, my gripes with this figure are very minimal, actually, because NECA tends to do a pretty good job with the TMNT stuff. However, I do have a snafu with my particular figure, and it, if we take a closer look at him, has to do with this shoulder pad here. Now, it's attached at the moment. It's attached a little better earlier, but let's just say when I got this from my good buddy Evil Villain, this was all kinds of floppy on here, as opposed to this one, which you could tell is solid. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, this pauldron was straight up busted off, or at least cracked and holding on by a thread. Then it straight up fell off. So Mr. Brian, aka my dad, aka the old man, pinned it and super glued it, as one does, and it was really secure on there until my thumb slipped and bopped his arm up and knocked the thing loose. Because of course. That's just my freaking luck, isn't it? That said, friend of the channel, T-Biz, shout out to T-Biz, been a hot minute since I said that, haven't I? He offered me his Claw Shredder because of this incident, and luckily I was able to make a quick trade for something that didn't cost me much anything. So I will have 2 of these guys. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one, the busted one, but maybe I'll just hold on to both of them and have 2 of them. You never know. That said, other than that, the lack of accessories does kind of stink, but what do you give this guy other than, I guess, maybe Shrimp Shredder, but that's neither here nor there. That just kind of added to the value of the other one when he came out. But my only other gripe is that he's got some pretty loose joints for a NECA figure. Typically, NECA figures, I either have to heat them or, work them a little bit. And while he's got some tight joints, he's got some fairly loose joints too, particularly in the arms. So, as far as articulation goes, if I can knock that pauldron off, his head will rotate. I do believe his neck moves a little bit. Yeah, his neck is on a ball peg, but it feels like his head is on a double ball peg as well. He can look up and down and tilt and all that good stuff. I think his head or his neck might be on a disc hinge as opposed to a regular one. His shoulders definitely on disc hinges. And if you pop these up, careful of the pauldrons. I would even say heat this guy up in the upper body. That way these pauldrons, I think, will be a little softer and will move out of your way. But as far as moving the arms up, that's about as far as I can get it. Which is probably far enough. I mean, if I do it this way, I can kind of push a little differently. And kind of push in a better way, a better spot. But then I can't rotate the arm to get the shoulder to face the right way. So you're kind of stuck with super limited shoulders. And the one thing I don't understand about these pauldrons, and the forearm one and the shrimp one even are like this too, they connect them to the torso. Like the pauldron has a port in it and the peg is on the torso. That kind of blows, because it should be the tab is in the pauldron is soft, that way it flexes up. So when you want to move the arms up, you can move the arms up and not worry about breaking stuff. That's not what happened here. I think this guy just took a shelf dive, and that was enough, but, you know, it still could have been engineered a little bit better to where that wouldn't have happened. But, oh well. You know, NECA totally botched gargoyles, so I guess it's not hard for them to make mistakes now, is it? That said, his shoulders move forward and back. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got double elbows, which these things, these are borderline trash elbows. Because his arm does not stay up. It is so loose in the elbow. The upper elbow joint is a little tighter, but even then, you still got all that weight. Like, the weight from the lower arm is substantial enough to make this a problem. So that kind of blows. You also don't get no rotation here, but the claws do open. You can open them wide, right up. My Elmer fun. You can open them wide up. Ha. And you can rotate them here, but you can't turn them sideways, which is very weird. It's not how a claw should be, but oh well. You can kind of bend the arms inward a bit, and they'll sit a little more naturally. And because of the way his arms are, he's a fairly skinny dude. You don't got to worry about it as much. He's got a waist twist. Personally, I would have liked the ball joint there, but oh well, it's fine. And then the hips, they can kick out, back down, forward and back. Very not tight in the hip department either. I don't know how the one I'm getting from T-Biz is going to be. That will rate, but I feel like this is a common issue with this figure, so that kind of sucks. He does have a little thigh swivel in there. I don't know if this is something you could heat up and possibly pop off and tighten up by heat warping it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would just recommend using some adhesive in there. Yeah, it looks like he's got like the standard, maybe he's got, does he have a thigh swivel? I can't tell. Like an actual thigh swivel? Yeah, he's got an actual, I think, thigh swivel. Yeah, he's got an actual thigh swivel. So these are probably harder plastic, these socket pieces. So I would not recommend heating this up. I would recommend just using some Kikis or heck, even Elmer's glue to tighten that up, if you want to do that. He's got double knee. That's not too bad. That's pretty sturdy. It's not floppy loose. I mean, it is a little bit, but he can stand straight up. It's not going to be an issue. And then for the feet, he does have hinges with a rocker. This foot almost feels like it's not as attached as the other one, but that doesn't really bother me too much. And since he's got big stumpy feet, he can stand like straight, not too hard. But yeah, the loose joints kind of sucks. The busted pauldron really sucks. And then the loose hips, yeah, kind of sucks. So I'm not going to say this figure kind of sucks, because aesthetically he looks great. And he does have decent range in terms of posability, but I don't know. I'm curious how the reissue in the 3-pack, that's like a solid, I want to say he was like a solid red color. and then Shrimp Shredder was like a solid purple or blue, and then the big dude was like a solid, again, purple or blue. I can't remember exactly, but they were solid color variants. I'm curious if that one is a little bit tighter. So if you have that version, let me know in the comments below how that turned out. I think that was a Best Buy exclusive. But at any rate, yes, I like this figure. I think it is potentially fun to pose when I get one that doesn't have a pauldron that I need to be careful with, and maybe a little bit tighter joints. But it does have its flaws. It does have its shortcomings, but if you can pick it up for about, you know, the 20 bucks, 30 bucks that figure like this should cost, then by all means. I don't think that's a bad deal. But it does have shortcomings. And not just because he's short. Speaking of which, I think it is time now that we move right along and take a look at how Claw Shredder stacks up against his Shredder clone brothers? Question mark? I don't know. Either way, it's time we move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, and as promised, here is good old Claw Shredder alongside his brothers? Question mark? Either way, we have the Shrimp Shredder and the Four-Armed Shredder we took a look at a couple of years ago now, as of the time this video is not only being recorded, but also posted. These guys were part of a, I believe, Target Haul-a-thon event and were first to market at Target. They were made available everywhere a little bit after that, but unfortunately this Claw Shredder, like I said before, was locked behind a subscription box. So very strange that the two were easy to get and the one was not, although I think prices on Claw Shredder have come down on the secondary market as of late. So if you haven't completed your Clone Shredder trio, it should be a little easier to do that now, I think. That said, if I had one gripe with these three, it's that Claw Shredder didn't come with any accessories, but Four-Arm Shredder not only came with alt hands, but also the Shrimp Shredder, the little shredder there. Maybe instead of that, the little shredder could have come with the Claw Shredder. That way we could have gotten more extra hands and that weird chopped off arm effect piece for Four-Arm Shredder. That way we had 4 fists, 4 open hands, 4 karate chop hands, and 4, was it grip hands? I can't remember the other set of hands he comes with because I don't have them currently, but I will at a later date. If anything, maybe we'll come back to that. But at any rate, that's my 2 cents on that. I think that would have been a little bit better, but it is what it is. At least they got all 3 of them out in a relatively short amount of time. I don't think Claw Shredder was out too long before these two, so, you know, you didn't have to wait years to finish a team like you did with Gargoyles, and then momentum died, and oh crap, the line is canceled. So there's that. But getting these two out of the way, I think the Four-Arm one easily the best of the 3. I don't think there's any contest there. You can't beat a figure that's like Goro from Mortal Kombat, can you? That said, we'll bring in our 2 regulars, the Mythic Legion's brother Manibelith, who is, you know, closer to an average-sized figure, and you can see that, you know, Claw Shredder is not a big dude. It's relatively short. We also have the infamous 11 Spawn, who wants to fall backwards? Okay, that was weird. Yeah, he's like, he leaned back on me. Very weird, but at any rate, as you can see, good old Al Simmons here definitely towers over everyone, as usual. Because again, Claw Shredder is a little shorter than an average Joe. Shorter than the average Joe, boo-boo. So with that being said, it is time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the busted pauldron on my particular figure, again, I think that's just due to a shelf dive. I don't think that's anything caused by the fine folks over at NECA Toys. The only major gripes I have with good old Claw Shredder here is the fact that he was a subscription box exclusive, And when all is said and done, his joints are rather loose in certain places, making him a little difficult to pose. Personally, I think the hinges in the arms and the hips are possibly the worst, but that's only because I have one of these at the moment. I'm going to have a second one to compare and contrast, but fingers crossed that one turns out a little bit better, and I can get this one's shoulder pad glued back on, because curse you, slipping thumb! So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, catch you guys later.